Hi there, my name is Cindy Davis. I am the Content Director for AV Technology and contributor for SEN and Future. With me, I have Sandi Stambaugh, Senior Vice President of Product Management at TD SYNNEX, and we're here to talk about meeting equity. Welcome, Sandi.
Hey, Sandy, how are you?
So, wow, we're already into the new year. Meeting equity has been such a huge topic, really in particular over the past year, I would say, as you know, came out of the pandemic, I hope. And we're really still struggling with meeting equity between in office or education environments, medical, any meeting environment, and then to the remote participants from a holistic perspective, define what meeting equity is.
Yeah, I think that we're still struggling because our environment is still evolving, right? We headed into the pandemic and we realized something that had never occurred to us, honestly, and that was the lack of meeting equity that existed within our physical, work or school environments or public spaces, generally speaking. I think that when we went virtual, we were able, those that had limitations that were not feeling, equitable in a meeting environment, were able to accomplish that, which was actually a huge benefit, right? That we were able to see that silver lining, as I like to call it, of the pandemic. And now, we've evolved back into this. It's not even really back into a live space. It's really what I agree with Gardner, what they call this third way, right? This reinvention of what this should look like. And meeting equity is at the forefront because we've had our taste, right, of it. And it's such an important topic. And so, meeting equity is a lot of things. It's about, incorporating folks that have physical limitations to be able to be just as involved and just as present in a meeting as those that don't. It's rural. It means things like rural equity. So those that are in, smaller cities and, versus bigger cities. Racial equity is a really important topic around this as well. And I think that just DEI as a whole, as it relates to, this sort of meeting environment, and meeting can be, I'll use that loosely, right?
There's so many aspects to that. And I think, you're right. There's always been meeting inequity. If you were working from home or on the road, they're always the kind of the stepchild there. You don't worry too much about whether or not they can really hear or they can really see, or it's like, don't worry, we'll catch you up. That's never been okay. And it's certainly not okay any longer. So what do you consider the current landscape around meeting equity?
I think that, now we're in a situation where we're trying to reinvent and, create that equitable environment so that we can have the most productive meetings with everyone involved, right? There's a story. I'm part of the IMCCA, and one of the stories, and I'll call out Dave Danto because he's the one that brought this to the forefront in one of our meetings. There was a member who, struggled with having a breathing machine in meetings, and it was, exceptionally loud, and they felt, sensitive while in that space and didn't feel like they could contribute at the same level. And things like in technology, around the audio masking and being able to kind of shut out those noises really created an environment where that person felt like they were, a contributing member of that meeting, and really kind of elevated in that space. And that story really just strikes home to me, because I think that, equity is more than just a person that's virtual feeling like they're part of the physical environment, or a person that's in the physical environment trying to have a productive conversation. It's really also about those physical limitations and helping people that have a lot to add to the conversation feel like they're a part of the conversation. I think it's just a really, really important topic. And I'm really excited to be a part of bringing the technology to the space to help that happen.
So what is the role of technology? Talk about some of the different scenarios.
I think some of the enhancements that we've seen, especially over the past year, and there's more coming, right? I feel like it's changing constantly right now as, our manufacturer partners and our vendor partners are really racing to meet the needs of the market. We've seen advancements in audio. We've seen advancements in AI technology, and making adjustments within the cameras to really make it feel more like everyone's in the room. I was talking to one of our partners the other day, and they were talking about it much like a broadcasting situation, right? Where when you're seeing a football game broadcast, you're seeing cameras from all angles. When we have a meeting, it's just here. And so being able to create that environment so it does truly feel like everyone is in the room, it's an important part of what we're trying to accomplish on behalf of the users. And we want to create that cohesive and really just immersive experience.
I think that's really interesting because you said here, and we've been used to the past 2+ years just doing this, right? So we're on a level playing field as much as we can. I mean, we both have good audio and video. Not everybody does. Sometimes people are just using their laptop audio and video. And please send folks home with a good camera and good audio, so that they can both be seen, heard, and listen properly.
I think that's part of the challenge right now, right? Is that we've been able to create an environment that works with the technology. And so then when you take yourself out of that environment, so home, we'll call it home right now because most people are working from home, and it's great to be able to work from anywhere or to meet from anywhere, but you still have to have that elevated experience. And that's where, the advancements in the technology that we've seen are really making a difference and will continue to make a difference.
Well, people are on the road now a lot more, and I have panelists that will come in and join me from a hotel room. And so now I think some of the technologies that people are being sent home with, you can take those on the road. So it's really meet from anywhere as well. It's not just that home environment, and taking those technologies to make sure that quality is really anywhere you go.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And that's why, probably my favorite is what we're seeing with AI and the cameras to make those adjustments. I am that person who will have a meeting in a hotel room, but I don't want a bed behind me.
Right.
So, you're piling up the pillows and putting your notebook on, and now, adjustments in some of the ability for the camera to adjust even on a notebook is pretty cool. So we're seeing some really neat advancements in technology that I think are going to continue to help the situation for sure.
But so how about, for integrators helping their clients within the office, making sure that those meeting rooms, whether it's a, huddle space, I think that name's going away, I don't know why, but to the medium-sized spaces, what kinds of technologies are really coming, some of them are older technologies, or old, not that old, but there are new technologies that are coming online.
I really think it's about the integrators trying to, get to the use case and the experience that their end user is expecting, right? Because it's not all the same. It's not all the same by vertical market. It's not all the same by region. It's not all the same by business size or office size. And so I think that it's taking that kind of consultative approach, which is what our integrators are really great at, and sitting down and understanding kind of what does work need to look like? What does this experience need to look like? And then working backwards from that within the technology. And we are seeing, we're seeing more and more of our partners really working on that assessment on the front end, and then actually even, continuing that service ongoing. So once you've deployed the technology, going back and reassessing, okay, what's working, what's not working, how can we make adjustments? A lot of pilots. Because, as I mentioned, people haven't quite figured it out yet, right? So knowing as you're drawing it on paper is probably not going to be the same as when you actually start using it, right? It's like when you build a house and you put the light socket on the wrong side and don't realize it till it's done, right? So I think that, pilots are really, really important. The other thing that we're seeing is, especially right now, given the market, we're seeing folks try to accomplish the best possible environment for the lowest possible cost. We're trying to hold on to our cash right now. And so I think that there's some great vehicles out there that are, it's great for our integrators to be aware of to help their end users accomplish their goals while not maxing them out from a capital expenditure perspective.
Well, especially now as budgets are getting tighter, how do integrators really navigate that landscape? Are there funding streams? I mean, and I know they're different, whether it's a corporate, medical or education. So it's a lot of different vertical markets you're talking about. But how do integrators really help their clients understand what's available?
There's some great funding out there to help with things like, telemedicine and distance learning, rural equity and racial equity that we kind of talked about. And, for instance, USDA just had $60 million worth of grants available, for rural areas to help with that type of technology. And there's others, within the federal government, state and local, and some focus specific, to the education space, or even broadband, right? Even connectivity. And so, yeah, I think that it's important to understand those. Some of them do require some sort of match, but like for instance, the USDA match was 15%. So I mean that's insignificant compared to the overall cost of deploying some of the technology. And so I think that our integrators understanding that and be able to incorporate that into the conversation with their end customers is really important as well. There's also other tools like subscription based offering and or technology as a service, where they can deploy the technology that they need for the space, but maybe it doesn't max out their capital budgets, and it's more of an OpEx cost going forward. So yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of paths to accomplish those goals. It's just a matter of having the right resources to help you get there.
So it seems like flexibility and scalability, they've always been the mantras, will even more so continue to be that because of budgets, as well as we just don't know what the office space is going to look like.
It's a personal approach now, right? It used to be technology first. Now it's what does the personal experience need to look like first, and then you're kind of building out from there. And then at TD SYNNEX, so we're distribution. We don't sell to end users at all, but we do stand behind our integrators, and we help them be stronger and help them deliver more robust solutions to their partners, and that even includes some of the funding stuff we talked about, right? So I've got full teams that are focused on knowing where the dollars are and knowing how to support partners and going after those dollars. Grant specialists, E-rate specialists, a team of grant writers that we are aligned with that help our partners, as they're trying to navigate some of the complexities of requesting those funds. So yeah, I mean, we've built up a full team here at TD SYNNEX to help our partners within this space.
Well, that's pretty amazing. Integrators don't have to go online and figure out what's available. They can just come to you guys, and you can help them with that. What other types of teams does TD SYNNEX have that are there for the integrators?
Yeah, so we've, pre-sales engineering is a big part of, what we do, especially within this space. That team's been very busy over the past year, coming alongside our integrators and helping them sort of reinvent designs that were already in place, and then sort of reworked several times as the needs have evolved. Pre-sales engineering, we have field support, so we have folks that can go out and do everything from a site survey to installation, integration, and then even post-sales support. Some of the assessments we've talked about, we've got teams that can help with that as well. And then obviously the standard pick, pack, and ship and funding available through distribution. That's of course those are the table stakes, right? And then we have a whole suite of value-added services. Again, just in the spirit of coming alongside our integrators, making their life a little bit easier, and helping to equip them with what's needed to help deploy the best possible technology solution.
That sounds great. Sounds like if anybody's really looking to figure out the whole meeting equity scenario, they can just really come to you guys, and you can help them through just about every aspect, it seems.
Yeah, so I have a team dedicated to the collaboration space. So you can reach them at CollabSolve, so CollabSolv at TD SYNNEX, TDSYNNEX.com.
Well, Sandy, this has been a great conversation. Many more to come because everything evolves, right? So
That's right.
It's been great.
That's
Thank you
awesome.
so much.
All right. Thanks, Cindy. It was so good talking to you.
You too.